BPC-157 BPC is the peptide people usually call the healing one. It is talked about for tendon issues, muscle recovery, gut problems, and injuries that seem to drag on forever. That is why lifters hype it so hard. But the main thing to understand is that most of the excitement comes from animal and lab research, not strong human proof. So BPC-157 is best described as promising, heavily marketed, and still much less proven than people online make it sound. Retatrutide is the fat loss peptide getting all the attention because it targets 3 pathways at once. That is why it is being seen as a next-generation obesity drug rather than just another peptide trend. In trials, it led to major weight loss, mostly by crushing appetite and changing how the body handles energy. But it is still an investigational drug, and the side effects are real, especially nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. So this is not hype for no reason. Retatrutide is one of the few peptides here with serious clinical results behind it. TB 500 terabytes 500 is usually described as a recovery peptide for soft tissue, especially tendons, ligaments, and muscle. That is why people bring it up when talking about stubborn injuries and long recovery times. The idea behind it is tissue repair and regeneration. But just like BPC-157, the human evidence is still limited compared to the confidence people have in it online. So the cleanest way to see TB 500 is simple. Interesting biology, strong hype, but not the kind of human proof people often assume already exists. CJC-195 is popular because it tells your body to release more of its own growth hormone instead of supplying growth hormone directly. That is why people connect it with recovery, sleep, body composition, and muscle gain. Human studies do show it can raise growth hormone and IGF-1 levels, but that does not automatically mean dramatic physique changes for everyone using it. So CJC-11295 is not really the instant gains peptide. It is better understood as a growth hormone signaling peptide with real hormonal effects, but much more modest certainty around the physique claims people attach to it. Ipamorelin sits in the same category as CJC-11295. It helps stimulate growth hormone release, and people often stack the two together for that reason. One reason Ipamorelin became popular is that it was promoted as a cleaner option, with less effect on cortisol and prolactin than some older compounds. That made it sound safer and easier to run. But just like CJC, most of the extreme body composition claims around it go far beyond what is clearly proven in humans. So the best way to think about Ipamorelin is as a growth hormone support peptide, not some magic muscle builder. IGF-1 LR3 is where the conversation gets more serious because this one is tied much more directly to anabolic signaling. It is talked about for muscle growth, recovery, and nutrient partitioning, which is why bodybuilders find it so appealing. But stronger effects also mean stronger risks. IGF-1 pathways overlap with glucose control and cell growth signaling, so this is not something casual or beginner-friendly. If CJC and Ipamorelin are the peptides people use to push the system, IGF-1 LR3 is the one people mention when they want a much more aggressive result. GHK-Cu is different from most peptides on this list because it is mainly talked about for skin, hair, wound healing, and tissue quality. That is why it shows up more in anti-aging circles than in hardcore bodybuilding ones. The reason people care about it is that research has linked it to skin remodeling, collagen-related effects, and healing support. So unlike the muscle peptides, this one is more about how you look and recover than how much mass you gain. It is still often oversold, but at least its main lane is clearer: skin, tissue repair, and appearance. Epitalon is the longevity peptide. That is the entire reason it gets attention. It is usually discussed in connection with aging, telomeres, sleep rhythm, and long-term cellular health. That makes it sound futuristic, which is exactly why biohacker culture loves it. But this is also one of the easiest peptides to exaggerate. There is interesting research around it, but the bold anti-aging claims are much stronger than the proof most people have actually seen. So Epitalon is best understood as an interesting longevity idea, not a clearly proven anti-aging breakthrough. So now the real question is, which peptide gets the most hype online? Because once you separate real evidence from marketing, the pattern becomes obvious. Some peptides have real clinical momentum. Others mostly have strong internet confidence, so drop it in the comments. Which peptide do you think is the most overrated, and which one is actually the most interesting?